Hi folks, welcome back to Booze with Nick, full-length edition. I've been doing a ton of shorts lately, having a lot of fun telling you what beers you should be drinking, but I thought it was time to kind of get back to a longer format review with a whiskey that I think really warrants it. Today we're looking at Jack Daniel's Bonded. As you can see by the state of the bottle, I've been looking at this whiskey, quite a bit lately. Before we get too far into it, customary wristwatch check, an Orient Mako 2. I mean, why would I not have an Orient on my wrist? Why, people? So, Jack Daniel's Bonded, for those of you who don't know, was released, I want to say, spring, summer of last year initially. It is part of Jack Daniel's permanent lineup. This is not a limited release or any sort of store pick or anything that's obnoxious like that because, most people can't get those. Nope, this is standard issue, or standard release, excuse me. I wish it were standard issue. Join that army in a heartbeat. I actually saw it for the first time at my corner liquor store last week, and, the thoughts of buying a bottle of Beam Black went out the window. I grabbed this and happily marched on out with it. I had initially seen this for the first time actually last fall in a duty-free shop. I was doing some flying, visiting my family, well, my in-laws in Korea. They're my family too. Young Ray, if you're watching, hi. And saw this in a duty-free shop and, only had so much of an allocation that I could buy. Didn't get the JD Bonded and was kicking myself afterwards. I was so happy when I saw it in the liquor store last week. I was happier when I got it open. We'll get to that in a second. So this is the regular Jack Daniel's, regular JD mash bill, the corn forward, 80% corn, remainder barley and rye, 12 and 8% respectively, I think. So it's not like it's a special mash bill. It is, however, as you would expect from a premium or upmarket offering, from carefully selected barrels from within the warehouse, which the producer feels exemplify the characteristics of the product better. Sort of a similar idea to their single barrel select, which I think I reviewed last year, which I believe is also the standard 80-12-8 mash bill. But again, just from special barrels, from special corners of what must be a gargantuan warehouse. So it was also, for those of you who don't know, Whiskey Advocates, wait for it, Whiskey of the Year for 2023. They gave it the panel rating on it is 97, which for those of you who are fans of the magazine, and you probably all should be, is a pretty darn high rating. I was a little surprised when I saw a Jack Daniel's product as the Whiskey of the Year, but when you look at the rest of the top 10 for this year, there's some pretty eclectic bottles in there. So cheers to the Whiskey Advocate panel for branching out and looking at some relatively obscure whiskeys. Not that Jack Daniel's is some sort of upstart boutique distillery. Anyways, stay on target. Let's just go ahead and since the Whiskey Advocate tasters are a little bit better at this than I am, I'm going to read their notes before I actually nose it myself. I'm doing this because these folks are better at this than me, and also I happen to largely agree with the tasting notes. So, like all bonded whiskeys, Jack Daniel's Bonded was produced in one distilling season, aged for a minimum of 4 years, and bottled at 50%. For those of you who don't know, those are the stipulations of the Bottled in Bond Act. Yes, we actually have legislation about whiskey in this country. Awesome, right? We should pass more important laws like that. So that's all per the Bottled in Bond Act. Any whiskey that says bottled in bond is aged for 4 years in a government inspected or government sanctioned bonded warehouse and bottled at 50%. Our tasters, the Whiskey Advocate panel, found gentle aromas of dried herbs, cherry, banana, yes, well integrated oak on the nose, and leading to a bold palette of honeyed peanuts, brown sugar, dark chocolate, and melted caramel, all accented by peppery spice. Overall, I think they're pretty spot on. You know, my own palate is not quite that sensitive, but nosing this, what they're unquestionably right on, and which I think most drinkers would unconditionally agree, is yeah, banana, vanilla. I get cherry from these corn forward mash bills, which I really enjoy, like a cherry candy or a cherry soda maybe. That trademark Jack Daniel's banana is so forward on this. It's so enjoyable if you enjoy sweeter whiskeys. If you don't enjoy sweeter whiskeys, you probably shouldn't drink one that has an 80% mash bill. Putting that out there. Yeah. And definitely a little bit of oakiness on the nose. And for those of you who have watched the channel, I don't love oak. Okay, I don't like it in wine, and it very easily overstays its welcome in whiskey. It's not overstaying its welcome in this, despite having 4 years with the wood. I really don't get the herbal notes that they're talking about on the nose. To me, the nose is actually a very simple, very enjoyable, but very simple nose of vanilla, huge banana, and some cherry or sweet artificial, you know, candy fruit smell. The banana continues on the palate. There's a little bit of a cola. Maybe you could argue there's a little hint of cocoa powder or something there. I'm not getting that big. For me, it's like someone mixed banana puree with a can of cherry Coke, and I mean that in a good way because I really like this whiskey. I'm looking for that peppery spice that the Whiskey Advocate panel was mentioning. Maybe it's there. To me, it's actually a pretty neutral, pretty sweet finish. A super whiskey. Is it necessarily the whiskey of the year? Well, I'm a little hesitant to argue with the tasters at Whiskey Advocate, who again, might be a little bit better at their jobs than I am at this. But I'm not sure it really rises to that level. Yeah, it's a good whiskey. Yeah, for 32 or 33 US dollars here in Oregon, it's absolutely a good buy. And again, if you like corn forward whiskey, you really need to do yourself the favor and get a bottle of this because you're going to love it. But whiskey of the year, I don't know. I feel like a more challenging or more complicated whiskey should get that. But then again, am I right? Maybe that's the point the Whiskey Advocate was making by voting this #1. Maybe simple, maybe non-fussy, maybe straightforward really is worthy of the accolade. Anyway, folks, as always, if you've made it this far with me, I sincerely appreciate your time, your attention, and your interest. And live well, be well, drink well. Take care, and I'll see you next time.